Hi, my name is Bobby Umar, and I'm an outlier.
Welcome to Outlier on Air with Ever Gonzalez, the show where we interview the founders, disruptors, and mavens of the world. Learn how grit, failure, and success are all a part of the entrepreneurial journey.
Hey everybody, welcome to Outlier on Air, the podcast where we interview founders, disruptors, and mavens. As always, I'm your host, Ever Gonzalez. On today's episode, we have Bobby Umar. He is the president and leadership catalyst at Ray Allen. Bobby, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here, Ever.
I'm excited to have you on for a few different reasons. I mean, you are a thought leader. You are a four-time TEDx world-class speaker, personal branding, networking, social media, leadership. You're an author. You're doing a lot of different things that I'm interested in personally, but know for sure that it's a lot of the things that our audience is interested in as well. And so I just kind of want to pick your brain, get to know you, what you're working on, and you also bring some meat to some of these topics of networking and feeling stuck at your job or in life and personal branding. And so we want to kind of get into all of that here in just a bit. But before we do that, tell us where you're calling us from.
I'm calling you from Toronto, Canada, home of the Raptors.
That's right. So what is the entrepreneurial vibe, the startup scene there in Toronto?
Oh, it's amazing. Toronto is a hub for innovation and entrepreneurship. There's a huge groups of different Facebook groups and live groups and meetup groups that talk about entrepreneurship, and I'm part of a group called Toronto Entrepreneurs of Passion and Purpose, and we really it's a lot of fun. It's a great community to be part of. We're all very passionate, we're very open, we're very transparent. So it's pretty downtown Toronto particularly. It's a big hub for it.
How long have you been in Toronto?
I've been here, almost half my life now.
Okay. So the scene is strong, and so this is almost a perfect place for you to be with all the things that you do. And you also host a conference there, and we'll get that in, get into that here in a bit. But right now, let's talk about what you do on a regular basis. So you're a writer, a speaker, all these things. What do you spend most of your time doing right now?
Well, my business started off as a motivational speaker. So I started that about 10 years ago, started basically speaking at conferences, at companies and offsites and in colleges, talking about leadership. And then I started talking about networking and authentic connection. And then what happened was I started getting into topics that evolved. Personal branding, I started talking about in 2008. And then in 2011-12, I launched my social media platform, which grew to 370,000 followers on Twitter today. And that's brought me a lot of thought leadership. And I've been doing this since 2012. So, but one of the things that's changed in the last 2-3 years is that, being a thought leadership is also about content. And so, blogging, writing a book, doing the conference, all those different things have been a new part of my profile. I now do a bit of coaching. I have an online program called Networking Mastery to help people network better. So aside from speaking, which is the majority of my time, I do spend the rest of my time creating content. Being a social media guy, I'm always videos, blogging, and just creating a lot of content, webinars and things like that. So that's usually what keeps most of my time.
Business and entrepreneurship in general, that's hard to begin with, no matter where you are, no matter who you are. What you're doing with the speaking and, kind of standing above the crowd with the thought leadership and the social media and just kind of getting on these speaking tours, that seems like it would be a million times harder, right? Because there's so many people trying to do it, some really good, some really bad. Why did you decide to do this way, and what are some of the pain points in trying to get into this and building your own brand?
Well, what I will say is that I've had several careers. So I was an aerospace design engineer, and then I was a teacher, and then I did my MBA and I went into brand marketing. And every single time I felt like I didn't fit, I felt lost. And so honestly, the reason why I finally got into entrepreneurship is I started talking to people saying, you know what, I'm miserable and I don't like working 80 hours a week for the man, building someone else's dream versus my own. I really didn't like it. And then people kept saying over the years, Bobby, why don't you just do your own thing? Why don't you be a speaker? Why don't you do this? I'm like, yeah, no, I was so focused on being successful in the corporate setting. And honestly, what's really interesting that happened was I actually got sick, and I ended up becoming type 2 diabetic. And I remember going to my HR person and my boss, and you know what? I need to scale back these 8 hours a week. I need to take 2 weeks off. I need to then get my blood sugar under control, and maybe scale back my hours from maybe 80 to something more reasonable, like 50 hours a week. Like 50 hours a week is reasonable.
Reasonable, right? Nice.
And then, I know, it's all perspective, right? And then 3 weeks later, they gave me a package, and they said, see ya. And I was like, whoa, and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, wow.
That's horrible.
They just don't care. Like, I thought they cared, and they didn't care, and I couldn't believe it. And so that's when I decided. So I actually, was let go from my job, and I was like, wow, what do I do? So that was the catalyst for me to start. And what's interesting, a lot of people, what they do is they become thought leaders. They become a thought leader in some sort of area, like they become an expert in gardening, or they become an expert in TV, or they become an expert in shoemaking, and then they start writing books and they start speaking about it. I did the opposite. I decided to become a speaker, and then from that I started creating content afterwards. And it was hard at first. I mean, transition was tough. I was, lonely, because I'm a flaming extrovert, right? So I was lonely, didn't see very many people anymore. So getting that going was really tough. But the key really to get going was to, have a structure, have a plan, talk to everyone I knew, network like crazy, and just get ideas. And pretty soon I came up with a launch plan and just started going after business. So it was slow at first, but yeah, when it started, it would pick up.
Yeah, so you were let go. You decided to kind of try to get into this. Like you were mentioning, it was slow in the beginning. From the time that you officially started to when you started feeling comfortable, speaking and being out there, putting yourself out there, and actually bringing in regular income. What was that time like? The span time. What was it like?
Man. Well, I kept changing and evolving. Okay. What is it I wanted to do? Who my audience was? What my target was? What my speeches were all about? I kept changing all the time because I kept getting feedback. That was kind of hard because. And every time I did a talk, I was always really nervous. Even though I'd done speeches forever, it's not like I didn't think I'd do a good job. I'd been teaching and speaking for a long time. It was just the context. I mean, it's like in conversation, I'm usually pretty funny and pretty witty. I can crack the jokes, but if I had to do stand up, I'd be nervous as hell because the context is you have to be funny. Same with the speaking. The context changed out. Okay, now you have to be inspirational, even though I am inspirational, but. Now on stage, I have to be inspirational and I have to be funny. So that to me is a little bit, it was more nerve-wracking. I'll admit, frankly, I had a lot of dark days, days where I would waste time. I felt like crap having done nothing. It was really bad. Like some days were really bad and you just feel like you feel terrible. And that was probably the hardest part in the beginning. In those dark parts, what kept you going? The best thing that kept me going in those dark parts was my network. Okay. Right. I mean, I have a very large network. I would reach out to friends and they say, Bobby, don't stop beating yourself up. You're amazing. Tomorrow's a new day. Just get off your ass and just get out there and do something. And one of the things I started doing actually was I started booking breakfast meetings because. As a social extrovert, when I would go out and meet someone for breakfast, number one, I have to shower and shave and change. As the first thing. That's huge.
It's funny. It's huge. We laugh, but that is huge. Yeah.
Yeah, because what would happen is if I didn't get going by 11 a.m., now it's lunchtime, and all of a sudden my day's gone. Like I haven't done anything till 2 o'clock.
So why bother?
So getting out was incredible, and then. Meeting someone personally, I actually would charge up my extroversion batteries, and I would actually have a lot of energy to do something that day.
Interesting.
That was actually really good. I would say overall, it took me about a year and a half to really get my groove, and then, of course, I had kids.
Sure.
So that was really an interesting thing too.
I love that from those because we can all kind of relate. At some level, from those dark days, like you're mentioning. You're just getting started in your career in speaking anyway, and. It was tough. It wasn't easy. From those dark days to like Inc. magazine naming you one of the top 100 leadership speakers.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned, 4-time TEDx speaker. you have a bunch of these other awards and recognition from some pretty awesome organizations that we're going to list on the website. But like, you turned it around, right? And so I want to get into your head. I know that you're an extrovert and you kind of had a good network, like you mentioned, but there had to be something a little bit extra in you, or a process or something that kept you going to where you are today.
Well, I think a big part of it is mindset. I mean, mindset is probably the first thing you need to do to be successful. In my mind, there's three things: mindset, mastery of tactics and skills, and then a plan. The one thing that the one thing that I had really, really going for myself was I was really good at tactics. I'm a very good speaker. I can create PowerPoint presentations. I'm good at blog posts. I'm a good writer. I'm good at engaging people. So like that one aspect was very, very strong. I started developing the mindset because I've been an idealist. I've always been a motivator. So the mindset piece was also there as well. So for me, what's that extra thing? I mean, being really passionate about my purpose and knowing my why, I think were huge. When you know your why, you know your purpose and why you get up every day, that can be an incredible fuel to what you're doing. So like, I knew who I served, I knew what I did for them, and my job is to go out there and kick ass and do that for those people every single day. My personal why right now is there are lost leaders everywhere. And everywhere I go, I meet people who feel lost, whether it's in school or 2 years into a job or 10 years in a job. And my job is to go out there and say, listen, you know what? It's okay to feel lost. We all feel lost. But it's not okay to do nothing about it, and I'm going to help you. And so when I put that out there and people resonate, that's my daily purpose. I think of that why statement every day, and it fuels everything that I do.
Okay, I want to get into that right in just a bit with the finding the people that are lost and stuck and how you help them specifically. But doing all of this and having the experiences that you've had, what's the business model behind this right now? I mean, is it most of the revenue coming in from speaking or from coaching or what is it?
Well, most of the revenue comes in from speaking. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I learned from one of my mentors from about a year and a half ago, he said, Bobby, speaking is great, but it doesn't scale. And you get hit by have you ever watched Shark Tank? You get hit by a bus, and then now what? How's your family making money?
Sure.
Right. So the first thing I thought about was, well, how do I create revenue systems and build scale? One example is one of the books I have on the market that makes money. It makes money while I sleep, which is a great thing. If I could die, I'll still make a couple dollars, after I'm gone. But from speaking, if I can't generate income outside of that, I need to find a way to scale it. So I started working on scaling my business and creating content that several people could access, as opposed to me just going to do a speech and then getting paid, or doing a consulting gig and getting paid. So speaking is the main crux of it, but now I'm trying to transition into doing coaching and online programs and things like that.
When did you start the coaching?
I started the coaching the same time I started the program. So I worked with a mentor about 2 years ago, and a business coach, mm-hmm. and they were saying, like, Bobby, people want to work with you. They want access to you. And I didn't realize that, as a speaker, sure, but people like having access to me on social media because I'm very responsive. But they said they want to have access to you like as a coach. And I said, okay. So what I did was I put out there, they told me to do that. They said, put out there that you're developing a 12-week program on networking mastery. And then describe what you're going to do, how you're going to help people, what's the pain point you're solving, and then see people sign up. And then what happened was there was a hell of a lot of interest. And then a few people signed up for my beta test. And then it forced me to create the program, create the content. And that's where the coaching started at the same time, because I was basically saying, I'll coach you and I'll create the modules for you guys and help you with your business or your careers.
Right now, what does your year look like as far as how many different speaking engagements you have during the year?
Oh man, geez, I don't know. Depends. I would say.
I'm assuming some of them are local, right? But you have to travel quite a bit as well.
Sometimes, yeah. Like I've been to a few other countries. I've been to India, and I've been to Abu Dhabi and England and Portugal. I actually haven't. The one place I haven't been to is the States, man.
What?
I'd love to. I know, it's crazy.
We got to take care of that then. We host events all the time.
I'd love to penetrate in the States because there's a lot of amazing people there. Most people in my network are either in Canada or the United States. So I'd love to get in the U.S. But for the most part, speaking gigs, probably I'd say about 50 to 60 a year.
That's quite a number. That's a good number.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also limit them because, I have young children, so I'm very dedicated to my kids. So as an entrepreneur, I hustle from 8:15 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and then my phone goes off and says super daddy mode and dinner's got to get on the table. So I'm going to get ready for the kids to come home. So that's something that's a huge priority for me. And I will admit that in the first 5-6 years of my kids being around, because they're only 5 and 7, I have not been when they first came, I was probably entrepreneuring my business about 30 hours a week. I was really a dedicated dad, and I don't regret that for a second. And now I'm hustling for just 40 hours a week. Sometimes when the kids are in bed or on weekends, I'll do some work, but for the most part, I'm very dedicated to them. So for me, it's a big part of my purpose.
Good, a good work-life balance. I love it.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about, so you run into and you talk to, and these type of people seek you out, those that are lost or stuck, right, at work or life or whatever it is, they come to you. How do they find you? Why do they come to you? And what can you do to help?
Well, they typically find me on social media because, again, I'm always tweeting and I'm always sharing videos on Facebook and on Periscope and on my YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. I share on LinkedIn. So social media has been a big outreach. I do have a large network on Facebook, so I'm engaged there quite a bit. They usually find me through social media. That's the first place. How I help them, for the most part, they're usually feeling two things. They're either feeling lost, like they are lacking clarity, they're lacking focus on some aspect of their life, usually their business or their career. But sometimes it can be something personal, like relationships or physical fitness or things like that. The second thing that they usually want is like, you know what, okay, now I've got this idea, I've got this business, I've got this kind of thing I'm trying to work on. How do I take it and ramp it to the next level? How do I become a thought leader? So those are the two ways I help people. Usually what I'll do is I essentially take lost leaders and turn them into thought leaders. So help them find clarity and focus, and help them ramp up their thought leadership brand and generate business for themselves.
Is that something you enjoy doing?
Oh, yeah. I love it. I mean, especially when we get to actually, they're both good. I mean, the moment you work with someone who's completely muddled and then all of a sudden they find clarity and have this aha moment, that is very satisfying. And then the other satisfying piece is when they actually get their first client or they get some success, like, wow, okay. Like, I was working with one woman to get her TEDx talk, and when she got it, she's like, oh my god, I got a TEDx talk. I'm like, all right. And we're celebrating, and she's crying on Skype, and
nice.
I love that.
I'm assuming that a lot of your clients or a lot of the people that you work with, obviously from a lot of different walks of life and from all over the place. Is there one common theme as to why they feel lost or stuck? Is it that they don't know their why, or what's the common thread across all of them?
The common thread is most people follow a path of success defined by other people, defined by their parents, defined by society, defined by educational system, defined by corporations. And what they usually do is they figure out what they want to do, and then they learn how to do it, and then they live a life based on whatever they're doing. Instead, what they should figure out is what kind of life they want to live, then figure out how to do it, and then learn how to do that. And so that's why they're miserable. 76% of people are dispassionate, unhappy with their jobs, and it's really because of that. And so that's where I come in. That's why, and I was there too. I was in that same situation twice. So it happens to a lot of people. And, for the 24% that are happy with their jobs, great. But the ones that aren't, they feel stuck. They don't feel like they can do something. They're like, oh, I'm 10 years in this job and I'm an expert at, electrician. I'm an electrician. How can I do something else? How can I be something else? And they don't think they can do something else, but they can. It doesn't take that long to build authority, build expertise in any area.
Like you said that, trying to figure out what it is that you want, not, other people's expectations of where you need to be or who you need to be. Being in my 20s, and then like when I was 30, I was like, oh man, I need to be this person by 30, or have these things, or like have these accomplishments by 30, like a house and, kid. Like, but no, like you do whatever you need to, right? But even now, I just turned 40 earlier this year, and I'm like, I should probably be like this now that I'm 40. But then I look around and I'm like, I still get stuck in that every once in a while. Like, no, who cares, right? I can be whoever I want. I don't need to be this. Go ahead.
The trick is how do you define your success, right? I mean, success is not just money, right?
For sure.
I mean, money is helpful, but for me, I define success by everything I can do to increase happiness in all aspects of my life. So from a parenting perspective, I'm successful because I have two wonderful kids. Love them. I'm successful because I have a nice marriage to my wife. I'm successful because I have good friends. The only place where I'm not successful is probably my health, but I'm working on it. So like to me, creating more happiness is the ultimate goal in every area of my life.
I love it. That's great advice, and that's something that I'm assuming most of our listeners can relate to, because we consider ourselves outliers. A little bit outside of the norm, living different lifestyles, whether we're digital nomads or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Not following the typical 9 to 5 type of lifestyle. 3 kids,
now
a house.
And now I'm a fighter against the corporate entity. Like
Good.
What I used to tell people back in the day when I career coached them, I say, look, in 2 years you want to, figure out you're going to stay or go to a different company, get promoted, or maybe leave. In 5 years, middle management, you want to stay or leave or go to another company. 10 years, you want to, become a director or VP, and you want to stay there for life. What I now tell people is, look, nobody starts a corporate entity wanting to be there for 50 years. No one thinks when they're dying that the top 5 regrets of dying are not about, gee, I wish I worked harder at that company, building up their dream. What people should be thinking about is from somewhere within 2, 5, and 10 years, what is your exit plan? What is your exit plan to leave the entity of the corporate structure? Because it is not conducive to your overall happiness and what most people really want.
I love it.
Sorry, I'm getting fired up here.
No, this is perfect. I mean, you're preaching to the choir, and I think a lot of us can definitely relate. So good for you. Let's kind of shift focus just a little bit. You're an expert in a lot of things. One of the things that we know about our audience is, we rarely have CEOs of large corporations listening to this. A lot of us are solopreneurs. A lot of us have small teams, but personal branding is important in what we're trying to accomplish with me and my audience. Let's talk about personal branding with your experiences. What can we do? What are some of the things that we can do in our lives right now to help us kind of get over that hurdle and be where we need to be when it comes to branding in that way?
Well, the most important thing with personal branding is investing in yourself. I mean, the greatest investment you can make is investing in who you are, understanding yourself, knowing your values, what principles and lifestyle you want to live, and then creating a leadership plan that aligns exactly with that. Because what you're doing is you're creating a life plan that's going to make you deliriously happy the rest of your life. Now, are you willing to invest 100 hours of your time to create 450,000 hours of happiness? Because that's what it is. The problem is people don't want to take the 100 hours. It's like, oh my God, 100 hours. Oh my God, that's a lot of time. Do you know what? When it comes to overall happiness, it's nothing. It's nothing. And so that to me is the big thing. And then when it comes to personal branding, then it's just a matter of going through the process of reflection, your values, getting feedback from people, using a couple of online tools, getting someone like me, like a coach, to help you hone in on and converge on the key elements of your personal brand, those aspects of it. And then, what kind of path do you want that's going to align to that? And when you do that, you're going to forge a path that's way more aligned, way more purposeful, way more happy, way more fulfilled. And there are tools to do that. I mean, I've done a Huffington Post article on my 5-step process on how to craft your brand. But again, a lot of people's are troubled with it because it is 100 hours. It does take time, and so they need a little bit of guidance and someone to hold their hand to show them the way. But again, investing in yourself is like so important. I mean, what if not you? Who? If not now, when?
Exactly. And you mentioned the 100 hours or so. Those 100 hours are going to come and go, whether you invested in yourself or not. Right?
Yeah.
So might as well do it. If you know that you need to, might as well do it.
And you can apply this to anything. Like I mentioned before, how I'm struggling with my health. Well, when I meet nutritionists and physical fitness trainers, things like that, they say, Bobby, what are you willing to invest in your body as a temple and get strong and healthy? Are you willing to live longer? Are you willing to do more things? Are you willing to put the plan together? I'm like, oh my God, you're right. I mean, you can apply this to anything.
Yes.
And yes, you have to invest in that time and energy, and that also includes money. It includes time. It includes money.
We like what you're doing with the speaking, with the coaching, right? We can relate. We like the message that you have. But on top of all of that as well, you also host a very popular conference in Toronto. Tell us the name of the conference and what you want to accomplish with those.
Sure. It's called Discover Your Personal Brand at www.dypb.ca. We started it 4 years ago as just a simple networking panel event. And what was amazing, on a really hot Monday night in August, we had 120 people show up. And we're like, wow, this is crazy.
Nice.
People really like this topic.
Nice.
And so we decided to go for a full day conference. And then the next year we had 300 plus people. We couldn't believe it. So, but the truth is, it's because people feel lost and people lack clarity and focus in their businesses, and they really want to ramp it up. And so this conference helps serve every aspect of personal branding, from your personal life to your image online to your social media profile to video content to messaging to we even had a workshop on style, fashion and style. We cover everything, and that's why the conference resonates with a lot of people. That's why the conference really serves a lot of people, because the workshops, the keynotes, the panels were all designed to inspire, to offer insights and tools and resources. So that's why I'm very passionate about it, because it's my main give back project that I do. I spend hundreds of hours on it, giving back and really helping people, usually young people. There's older people too, but usually young people, usually millennials, helping them really find clarity and focus and help them build up a brand and really find a more purposeful life that's full of joy and happiness.
What's the long-term goal there? Is this something you want to continue to do for a while?
Yeah, I think that the plan is really to establish that as a brand and then expand it to other markets. So one of the things we're thinking about is, once we have the established brand of DYPB or Discovery Personal Brand in Toronto, we'll probably want to franchise it out to people that want to do it, say, in Philadelphia or Vancouver or New York or something like that, because there are people already talking to me from various cities. I even got an email from someone in Nigeria who went to the conference 2 years ago. He's like, "Hey, can you do it in Nigeria?" I'm like, "Yeah, man.
Yeah,
let's do it. Let's do it."
That's
awesome. Everyone feels lost everywhere, so you might as well do this.
Exactly. Again, with your background, with what you're doing now, with the success that you've had, I like all of this that you're doing. But I also think of you and people like you that are doing similar things. When I think of like a therapist, I'm like, there must be something that we go to them for answers, or for whatever, coaches or whoever we go to for answers and for help. When you need help, when you are struggling with something, what do you do? I mean, do you have a coach, a mentor? How do you get over your own personal struggles? And maybe what are some of the hardest things that are keeping you back right now, or some of the challenges that you have right now as well?
Okay, I think wow, that's a tough question, but actually an easy question in the sense that there's so many different things that happen. I'm very blessed to have a really strong network, and so I'll give you an example. Just with my health, I put up a post on Facebook just a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I basically called it "What the F is wrong with me?" And I admitted to binge eating, I admitted to food addiction, I admitted to feeling depressed about the 4 meds I was on, I admitted to feeling stuck and lost, and I was desperate for help. And I put it out there, and hundreds of people responded.
Nice.
And I started a group called Fit in My Life, where hashtag we want to get fit. I want to get fit in my life, but I also struggle to make everything fit in my life. And it's a double entendre hashtag. So there's that. And then from the business thing, yes, I do have a mentor. Which actually I never had growing up. I never had mentors, but I finally got an official mentor just 2 years ago. I do have a business coach that I work with. I find that really helpful. I also have my what I call the Council of Umar, my 4 best friends who I go to.
I love that.
They're the council, man. So, so I go to them for stuff. My wife is really amazing. So there's one of the things I found with mentorship is that it takes a village. I have a village of mentors who are all there for me when I need it. And, like I talked about the dark days at the beginning, I still have them. Like, just a month and a half ago, I had a really bad binge episode, and I was depressed the whole day. And that whole day was a write-off. But it happens. Life happens.
Yeah.
And so as soon as that happens, I post, I talk about it. Because if you can talk about it, you can own it. And then people will step up. People will step up because they want to help you. And especially for me, like when you deposit a lifetime of giving and generosity and caring into the bank, you can start taking withdrawals from that bank, because people will step up and help you. And I think I've created a really huge bank for myself, and I'm grateful and blessed that I can actually withdraw from that from time to time.
That's huge. We have mastermind groups, and in the beginning, I was thinking, we're just going to be the facilitators, and we're going to be here to kind of bring these people together so that they can kind of help each other and mentor each other and stuff. But we're actually participating in our own groups as well, and I was surprised at how much I'm learning how much fun I'm having. Now I feel like I have this kind of like your group, a network of high profile individuals that are like on my team, my village, and that goes a long way. And in the beginning, I was like, I don't need a coach. I'm not going to pay for a mentor. I'm not going to do any of these things. But now, absolutely, I encourage everybody to kind of put themselves.
Well, one of the challenges that people seem to think that asking for help is weakness. Yeah. But I mean, if you are a couple and you see couples counseling, that doesn't mean your marriage, your relationship is over. It means you want to make it better. You can seek a fitness coach, you can seek a business coach, you can seek a relationship coach. These are because we want to be better at things, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. And also to answer your previous question, what I struggle with, I struggle with a couple of things, but I think the main thing that is trying to find balance of time. A lot of entrepreneurs I know are definitely gung-ho and they go like crazy with all their stuff. I'm challenged by two things, which is that my time is limited because I'm definitely dedicated to my kids. Now, if they were not around or if they were older and off to university, then fine. I would have been able to spend more time, but I don't have that luxury. I really want to do the best by them. And that also doesn't afford me the ability to take as many risks with my finances as other entrepreneurs I know do. So I have to be very mindful of that. And then I think the other thing I struggle with, honestly, and this is something we all struggle with, which is it's a mindset of pricing yourself and stuff. Someone asks you how much your coaching costs. It's you're like, Whereas, if someone says how much your speaking can cost, boom, $5,000, no problem. And I have no problem saying that because I've been speaking for 10 freaking years, right? I know that mindset. But when someone says coaching, since I've only been doing it for like a year and a half, I'm less sure of myself.
Oh, really? Interesting.
And so being sure of that is one of the hardest things to be able to build.
That's funny. Even for somebody like you in your position, that's interesting.
Oh,
that
yeah.
You still are like, I don't know. You're a little gun shy when it comes to putting that out there like that. But I'm glad that you're open and can talk about that because a lot of us can relate. We're confident in a lot of different places, and a lot of different things, but there's still those things where sometimes we feel like, I don't know that I can get away with charging that much, or I don't know that I can give that speech because I don't consider myself, a full expert, whatever, right? We can relate. So I'm glad that you're able to bring it up, and the struggle is real, right? And so we just got to get through it. We just got to push through it.
Yeah, and it doesn't go away. And that's why it's so important to have mentors and have a network and a community and to keep putting stuff out there and trying and failing and learning and trying and failing. You win some, you learn some. That's what you want to be able to do.
We have 350 episodes. We've interviewed 350 entrepreneurs on our show, and we a lot of them are building companies. They're building products or providing services and things like that. And so when we ask them this next question, it's a little bit easier for them. For you, I'm interested to see what your answer is going to be. But for you personally and your brand and your business, what is this going to look like in 3 years? What do you hope to accomplish in these next 3 years?
Wow. I wasn't expecting that one. I'd love to be in a place in 3 years where, my content and my training, my workshops and the stuff that I talk about is more commonplace, and we're doing retreats and we're doing workshops, we're doing training, not just in Canada, not just, with a small group of people, but, my goal actually has always been, I want to inspire and help 1 million heart leaders to express themselves and to find clear and focus and to live a more purposeful, fulfilling life. So if I can hit that 1 million, that would be amazing.
I love it. Congrats. And no doubt that you're well on your way. So we're definitely going to keep in touch and we'll update our audience as these next 3 years come for you. So last question, we appreciate what you've done. We appreciate you being on the show. Overall now, for all the entrepreneurs that are listening, what kind of advice would you have for us? Something that we can take into our lives right now and apply it so we can get to the next level.
And there's so many different things I would pick, but if I were to pick one thing, you have to embrace your vulnerability and put it out there what you're struggling with and tell people, because the right people will come to you and they will talk to you. And the more you talk about it and you share what's going on, your struggles, and ask for help, have the courage to ask for help, but be vulnerable. It's the most authentic way to build a tribe, the most authentic way to build a business, the most authentic way to get where you want to go. And just have that courage. And if you lack that courage, then, call me and I will tell you to do it, because It's so, so important. The best people that I admire that are doing stuff are putting themselves out there and sharing their vulnerability, both the good and the bad. Don't just talk about the light, talk about the dark, and be willing to ask for help. Just ask for help, because if you do that, I think the right people will step into your life and they will help you get where you want to go. Because we all feel lost sometimes. We all want help. So why wouldn't we want to help other people who've actually
For
put it
sure.
out there vulnerability that they need the help?
I love the fact that you're pushing us out of our comfort zone, right? We're not going to grow inside our comfort zone. And I'm glad that you're saying be vulnerable, put yourself out there. That's great advice. I really appreciate it.
Good. I'm glad. No, I think it's just so important, and a lot of people don't do it. They always feel so, so nervous.
Agreed. Now, for those that are listening that that have heard your story, your words of wisdom, and they want to connect, where can we find you online?
I'm everywhere at Rayhan Bobby, which is my handle for Twitter, where I do most of my stuff, but it's also my same handle for Instagram and for Snapchat and all the other ones. But then also you can go to my website, www.rayallen.com, and that has all my information as well.
Perfect. So Outliers, you can go to outliermagazine.co. That's outliermagazine.co. First of all, subscribe to our podcast, rate, review it. But there you're going to be able to find Bobby's website, links to social media accounts. Feel free to reach out to him. He's doing some pretty cool things. If you have any struggles, any questions, he's there. And Bobby, again, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. No doubt that we'll definitely keep in touch.
Thanks, Everett. It's been an absolute delight.
Great. So, Outliers, we'll talk to you tomorrow.